You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Marc Brown, founder and managing attorney at the Marc Brown Law Firm, focusing on personal injury and wrongful death, serving South Carolina and Georgia. I love it. Marc, how you doing? Welcome in.
I'm doing well, man. Blessed. How you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well, dude. I'm so happy to have you on. I looked at your website, looks great and everything, and you're doing some big things, and I like a lot of the things you had to say. So I'm looking forward to talking about that and fleshing that out a little bit. But first, I just want to know where you're from, like a little bit of background for Marc.
Man, I'm originally from Sumter, South Carolina. It's a small area.
Yep.
Nobody knows where it is, but I can tell you the hometown of Ja Morant. That's the only thing relevant right now. But
Say
yeah,
that again?
the hometown of Ja Morant.
Oh, yeah. For
Memphis
sure.
Grizzlies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We know Ja Morant.
Yeah.
In fact, as we record this, we have game 6 tonight of the NBA Finals. So I'm a big Celtics fan, so I do know your Ja Morant reference.
But yeah, so when the Emory Law became a lawyer somehow, they let me in. And I've been practicing in Georgia, practicing in South Carolina.
Awesome.
And, I got studying for the bar now, trying to expand it out. I won't say where yet,
Okay.
but we'll be in another state pretty soon.
That's amazing. I want you to take me back to University of South Carolina undergrad, Emory Law School, great schools. What were those experiences like the experience at University of South Carolina?
University of South Carolina was wild. Like a lot of people like to leave their state to go to undergrad.
Yep.
I went on the road 45 minutes, and I loved it.
Okay.
And people often ask me about the sports with our Lady Gamecocks killing it in basketball.
Yeah, right.
Football
That's
team,
right.
pretty good. Football team has good seasons, but when I was there, had free tickets to go to the games. I actually only went to one football game ever, but I went to tailgate. I tailgated every home game.
Tailgate. You got to tailgate. It's nothing but a good tailgate.
Yeah, so all the tailgating, made my GPA a little questionable, but I was able to do well enough on the LSAT.
Doesn't matter now. So what were you doing if you weren't going to the football game? Just everything else?
Oh yeah, I mean, I found a lot to do.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Get in trouble with, but
I know. I always wondered, I'm from the Northeast, and when I watch a football game, taking place in the Midwest or the South, or a Texas game, I'm always just like, man, those kids are just having the time of their lives. I mean, there's so many kids out there, but it just looks like a blast. So that had to be wicked cool. So tell me, at what point, Marc, were you like, you know what, I'm going to try to get into law school. Let's see if I can do Emory.
Man, that's actually a good question. So originally, as far as back in third grade, from what my mom tells me, I said I want to be a lawyer.
Okay.
As things progressed, I didn't really stay on the right path. So my grades weren't up to par. I didn't think that I would ever become a lawyer. I ended up having my son when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
So second month of undergrad, my son was born. Undergrad.
Oh, wow.
At USC, my son was born. So I had a lot of focus on him, having fun and working multiple jobs. So my grades suffered a little bit. After I graduated though, and I did graduate, they allowed me to graduate. I took a job in a call center.
Okay.
Verizon Wireless. And this lawyer, I wish I remember his name, out of Atlanta, Georgia, called in because of having phone issues. And we started talking. In my mind, I quit that job at that day.
Really?
I didn't really quit, but in my mind I did. I signed up for the LSAT, bought all the prep materials. And
okay.
I was like,
so I gotta slow you down, man, because that's super interesting, and that's the crux of the story of your story right here. So you're in a call center. I've worked in a call center too, doing outbound sales, whatever. What was your position? What were you doing in Verizon?
Oh, I was getting cursed at.
Okay.
So when people had a problem with their phone or their bill was too high, they called to fuss at me.
Okay, so they
So
called you to like adjust their bill and argue, yell at you. So what did this lawyer do that made
um
you be like, oh man, like this? I mean, he must have been a good lawyer. He persuaded you to say, hey, this is gonna be my career path now.
Nah, he was just so cool on the phone. You know, everybody else is fussing and yelling. He just had an issue he needed to get figured out. So we're like, okay, we talked, we chopped it up, and I waited. He told me, I saw the law firm on the account, but I waited until I actually fixed his issues and solved his
Yeah, yeah.
problem. And then I started asking him questions. I wish I could remember the questions I asked him, but I can't. But I know we were supposed to be on our calls for no more than 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
We were on the phone for like 15, 20 minutes chopping it up.
And all that stuff is like recorded, like for quality insurance and all that, right?
Oh
So
yeah, they heard all of it.
what do you think like intrigued you about it that he was a lawyer?
Because honestly, I didn't really know many lawyers at that time.
Okay.
And especially, you know, and coming from Sumter, South Carolina, I definitely didn't know any minority lawyers.
Okay.
I'm sitting here talking to this guy, and of course, I looked him up in Google while I'm
Of
talking to him.
course, yeah.
And he just seemed like, he seemed like a cool dude. He didn't seem like somebody that puts a tie and carries a briefcase every day. He sounded
Yeah.
like a regular dude. So that really intrigued me, and it somehow it relit the fire.
That's amazing. And so from that day on, you were just like that's something I want to do. So what about Emory? How did you choose that? And like, what was that experience like?
My family is originally from Georgia, a town
Okay.
called Covington, Georgia, and it's like 40 minutes outside of Atlanta. So I kind of wanted to get away from South Carolina, but I didn't want to go too far. I really felt like if I wanted to truly grow, not even as a lawyer, but as a person, I needed to get away from home, but I didn't want to go too far. So
Right.
I went to Emory, an amazing school. And my time there, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was great.
That's a great school. That's amazing. So so what about law school? Like, what did you have any like not like shock, like work shock, or like what was it like the difference? I mean, USC, University of South Carolina, good time. Like, you're tailgating, and then you get to law school, and it's like, oh my goodness, you look at the syllabus, and you have like millions of pages of reading. Like, was it sort of like, what was your whole like aura around that?
It was a shock. I tell you the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't once I got there, I didn't believe I was supposed to be there.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um, I remember being in a class and we had to go around the class and every person had to tell one interesting, you had to say where you went to undergrad and give one interesting fact about yourself. And I'm in there, everybody's talking about Yale, Harvard,
Yeah.
all these amazing schools, and I've traveled to 15 countries.
Yeah.
I'm an equestrian, all this stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I end up being between a Yale person and a Harvard grad.
That's awesome.
USC is a pretty good school.
Yeah, it is.
However, it's not quite Yale or Harvard. But yeah, so I'm like, I didn't have anything cool to add to them. I was like, I told them I'm on the University of South Carolina, and I can't remember what cool fact they
You
gave me.
probably you said it one time at this tailgate. I drank. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome though. That's awesome. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like hearing those stories. And like, you went to Emory, you became a lawyer. Took the obviously. Did you have any mentors around like along the way besides that the dude on the phone who kind of inspired you? You don't recall his name, which is probably good because if Verizon ever heard this, they'd be like,
Yeah.
this guy's like taking people's info. Well, that's a long time ago. But anyway, how about mentors? Tell us the importance of mentors and if you had any along the way.
As coming up, you have to get mentors. If you
Yeah.
want to be a successful lawyer, you have to have mentors. Because the practice of law, you'll never truly get it or grasp onto it unless you have people with the experience that are willing to give you that information. And I was relentless when I was in law school. I would set out I would find lawyers that were in the positions that I would want to be in one day.
Yes. So
Just
smart.
email them, reach out, let's go to lunch. Because
Yeah.
not only do you get to learn from them and get them in your network, but they buy you free food. So
Yeah.
like lawyers love buying law students food.
Okay. That's good.
It worked out.
So like the check comes and you get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Sort
I
of
did a little reach like
We all know the reach. That's awesome. No, that I think you really like hit on something, and I wish a lot of law students would do that. Find somebody who's doing what you want to be doing, and like, kind of attach onto them. But you were outgoing enough to send all these emails, and you wanted to do transactional work first, right? It was sort of like you wanted to do some business stuff, and tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, that was one of the cool moments where you knew something about me I didn't know that you knew.
Yeah, of course. Hey man, I do my research.
Oh yeah, I messed up, man. Oh, so when I was at Emory, I did the transactional law program, and that's
Okay.
one thing that really intrigued. That's another reason why I want to go to Emory. So everybody else, all my colleagues, the other students, they're taking regular law school classes. They're not easy, but I'm taking the hardest of the hard classes. So I'm
Yeah.
taking business, like the business finance, accounting for
Yeah.
lawyers, um,
Wow.
mergers and acquisitions. I'm
Yeah.
all these crazy secure transaction classes. I could have been taking like family law because really get the good GPA. So I'm taking,
Mediation.
yes, yes, that's easy
No,
class.
I know, I get it.
So, but so thankfully it didn't suffer. I still graduated with like a 3.6 something
Wow.
percent. So
Okay.
it worked out. But if I would have not taken those transactional classes, man, darn close to a 4.0. It would have been I would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I did all that and then realized I never wanted to read another contract. I never wanted to do transactional work. It was a mistake, but it taught me what I didn't
What you
like and what I
didn't
didn't
want
want
to
to
do.
do. So
Yeah.
it worked
Okay.
out.
No, that's really smart. Like, why did you think you liked that in the beginning? Like, why did you think that would be it for you?
I honestly, like I said earlier, I didn't really know many lawyers,
Okay.
so it seemed cool. I get to be in the tall buildings, and I get to sit around with business guys and wear nice suits and do deals. But
Right.
as my
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember one of our professors telling us, like, it's not like you see the dudes in court with Armani suits on TV. It's not like that. I mean, and you have to learn kind of the hard way because I think people get suckered into it a little bit and they think that that's what it's going to be like, but it's not really not like that.
definitely,
Well, it's not where I'm from, at least.
yeah,
So did you end up doing some more externships and stuff in law school?
yeah. I got to work for what I worked the Coca-Cola company, which was
Wow.
an amazing
Yeah,
experience.
that's in Atlanta. I remember that. Yep. Okay.
Their headquarters. That was phenomenal.
Right.
And then, little clerkships at different
Okay.
firms, but then I got the clerk at a personal injury law firm. And he recently came over from Big Law and opened it up. And now he's like the man. Is
Really?
Reginald Green, the super lawyer out of Atlanta. We still talk and work cases together. But yeah, that was a job that really told me, you know what? You need to be a plaintiff lawyer, personal injury. This is
So
what you
you
need.
worked for him as an intern?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I
Who
saw.
did you say his name? If not, you don't have to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Reginald Green. Um,
Okay. All right. Reginald Green. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. So you were like, this is what it is. Like, this is what I want to be doing. And you have your website. I know I made reference to it earlier. Is like it's really cool. Like you have this YouTube video on it. And one thing I picked up that I really liked is like within the 10, and I'm not trying to, maybe you haven't been to your own website in like a while. And I know I don't like go to my own website for a while, but
yeah.
you talk about within the first 10 seconds, you have this video that's really good. And you talk about rooting for the underdog.
Okay.
Whether
Yes.
you put on like the TV and like you see an underdog playing in a sports game, that sort of thing. Like, tell us why that's important to, like, for you to like to root for the underdog and to like take on to fight against the mammoth.
Because I think of myself as, most of my life, um, I was the underdog.
Yeah.
Uh, I had to, face that adversity to make it where I am today and didn't have all the help that a lot of my colleagues and counterparts had. So just fight, work hard, and win. And then I got to a point where working on whether it was with the big law or insurance defense, where I'm representing these big multinational corporations, big insurance company.
Right.
I'm working against an individual or a class of individuals that were harmed in some way. And they're the underdogs. And like our resources, money was unlimited to fight them. And it's like it just didn't sit right with me.
Right.
Like I'd rather be with them. I'd rather be representing the individual that's actually been harmed and not the big corporate entities that are just throwing money to
Yeah.
avoid, paying for their harm.
And now you kind of describe yourself as being always the underdog. Do you think that that's important in order to like develop some sort of empathy, like for your clients? Like some people go into an area of law where they might not have had any experience, like in terms of personal experience. Not like you have to have like a huge injury in order to be an injury attorney, but you feel like you have that sort of empathy for your clients because you do consider yourself an underdog along the way.
Yes, because if you have a client that's not able to go to their doctor's appointment because they don't have time, they can't take off time from work,
Yep.
or they don't have money to pay their copay. It's like I feel them on that. I've been in that position before. I understand where you're coming from and why this is happening to you. And then also on the other hand, back in 2010, it was the summer 2010, I got hit by a drunk driver
Wow.
right near the University of South Carolina. So to go through all that, to go to the doctors, the
Wow.
injection, I have experienced what my clients are going through.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing. We're glad you're okay. Uh,
Yes. Thank you.
so, why was it personal injury? Do you feel like? I know we kind of touched on it, but like, why did you sort of? And I know that you mentioned this one attorney, Reginald Green, but like, what was it about PI?
It was so when I first opened my door, when I the very first opened my door, July 1st of 2019, I was doing personal injury, criminal law, and family law.
Okay.
Within 2.5 months, I dropped family law and criminal law because my heart wasn't in it. And then when I'm talking with clients and dealing with the court, it my heart wasn't in it. And
Okay.
if I would have continued doing that type of work, it would have been to chase money.
Yep.
And I truly believe chasing money or the idea of money is why I wasn't happy with my practice in the beginning. Because when you work big law, they pay you lots of money. Um,
Right.
so I was making well, but it didn't sit right with my values, and I
Right.
wasn't truly happy. But when I'm representing people that have been harmed, and able to get their life back on track, get them the medical treatment that they need, be able to get their car replaced, and be able to make sure they're made whole, that actually makes me feel good,
Yeah.
my heart is in it.
Yep. That's awesome. I love that. So tell us about you had like a balcony case at like a big hotel. Do you want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so and this client actually gave me permission. I'm not even gonna say his name. He gave me permission to use the name thing. He better give me permission. Better giving me permission because he's actually my cousin. But
Okay.
he he was at a big name hotel
Okay.
and leaned against the rail on the second floor. And the second he leaned against the rail, didn't sit on it, just leaned against it. It came straight out the wall.
Oh my goodness.
So he was on the second floor. He fell down to the concrete before, and they were doing construction. So he landed on broken pieces of concrete and rubble. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, his three vertebrae in his spine just blew up, shattered
My
completely.
gosh.
It was horrific. They thought he was gonna be paralyzed, but he after a surgery, a couple surgeries, he made it through. Um, but yeah, that was a big case, and it just it always feels good to help somebody,
Yeah.
but family, like that's a whole nother feeling. And just setting that case up because a lot of people think personal injury, somebody gets hurt, they go to the doctor, you send a demand, make money. To do it right is a lot more than that.
Right.
Second, I got the call. I'm on the road to Atlanta. I was living in South Carolina at the time. Visit him in the hospital. Went straight to the site of the hotel to kind
Mm-hmm.
of take a look. Hired an expert within 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they wouldn't give me permit. They wouldn't give permission for my expert to come and view the area. So my expert rented a hotel room
Mm-hmm.
and while on the property, staying, looked at the balcony where he was and saw that it was in shambles. And then from the
Really?
court, he could see the room where my client fell. So we was able to get all the information, much evidence, fast, fast,
Wow.
fast.
Okay.
And that really made the difference in that case.
That's amazing. Did that go to trial or was it like a big settlement?
No, it settled, and they did not want to settle for the full value pre-suit.
Right.
So once I filed suit, some lawyers got involved. Within 2 months, the policy
Wow.
policy limits, well, two policies
Policies. That's
were paid
great.
out.
Yeah, you got to search for all those policies, right? You got to see what they got. That's awesome. Congrats on that one. How long ago was that?
That was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago.
Tell us what it means to you to dig deep into a case to like provide the biggest impact for your client. Like, what's your process like?
So every lawyer, especially the commercial, we get you the maximum compensation.
Right.
People love money, but it's a lot more than that. People want to get better. They want to get to the right doctors. They don't want to have to worry about their loss of income from being out for work. We we like to think of it as a full one-stop shop where any issues that have come up because of this car accident, we are going to work to help you with, not just your insurance claim. Um, and clients seem to appreciate that. Like I've had clients where, his parents worked and they would not be able to give him a ride to this dentist appointment because his teeth got shattered.
Wow.
So Saturday morning, I got out of bed and I drove him to the dentist and I sat in the lobby while he got his work done. And I drove him home. I do whatever, and this one was just me and one
Yeah.
paralegal. Now it's a team of altogether, I think there's 13 of us now.
Wow.
But all my staff had the same drive that I have. So they all work together, make sure our clients are fully taken care of, whatever they need.
Yeah. So at the Marc Brown Law Firm, what do you look for in your employees when you're going to hire somebody?
That's hard.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know. I can tell you
Yeah.
what I used to look for. I used to look for, like, let's say a paralegal. I look for somebody with experience, has worked at reputable law firms before, and I think would be a great addition to the team. That didn't work out. Now I look for people that have grit. I look for people that have values similar to my own, similar
Mhm.
to my firm.
Okay.
I look for people that want to do more. And what I've noticed now, I can hire somebody that has those characteristics and no experience, and they are rock stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rock
Yeah.
stars.
That's good. And I'm guessing they also, get along and vibe well with the rest of the team and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like they want to hang out too much. I'm like, hey, everybody can't go to lunch together at the same time.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like my
That's right.
staff, everybody hangs out after hours. It's like
That's cool. That's
it's
good.
cool.
Um, so at the Marc Brown Law Firm, tell us about the type of the people that are coming to you for help. I know you do personal injury, wrongful death, but like, what kind of cases are we taking on mostly?
I would say about 70% of our cases are going to be auto. Whether it's standard car on car auto or big truck, tractor trailer, commercial vehicle type auto cases.
Okay.
Um, I would say the other 30%, a high mix of crime victims and
Mm.
oddly enough, dog bites.
Dog
Nobody
bites.
likes,
Okay.
yeah, South Carolina, nobody likes leashes. Everybody,
Wow.
they're just
Yeah.
biting everybody.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've actually I've heard that from a South Carolina person. Not we talked about dog bites. This was a few years back we did an episode, but that's interesting.
Yeah. I feel bad for all the UPS. Like I have so many UPS and FedEx clients.
Oh man, that's the worst, right? Like
Yeah.
they come up, they just all they want to do is like give you your gift, and then they
Yeah.
get bitten.
Boom. And
Yeah,
bit my dog. So
that's
yeah.
crazy. Tell us like what characteristics do you think it takes to be a successful PI attorney?
I would say it takes grit and just you have to have a dogmatic personality. You have a goal. You have to go after it. You have to
Yep.
get by any means necessary. People that like to go home at 5 o'clock, they like to sleep in the morning.
Yep.
This isn't for you.
Right.
You have to really love this type of work to be good at it, and you have to have the experience and skills. I see a lot of people. I think a mistake that a lot of lawyers make is just opening a law firm straight out of law school or
Yep.
opening a law firm too early. I made sure I didn't like the defense work, but I made sure
Right.
to do it I was doing that for like 5 years to actually get some
Yeah, you
substantive
learned it.
experience doing
Right.
it to bring it over. Because you got to be able to get the cases and you actually got to be able to do good work.
And
Um,
like being personable too, does that I feel like personal injury attorneys are sort of like a different breed, because you gotta network and be personable. You want somebody to remember you so you can get a referral, that sort of thing, right?
Yes,
Does that play
yes.
a role for you?
It does because I don't know. I'm a people person. Uh,
Yep.
I like talking. I like spending time with people, and most people their experience with lawyers, like you said before, you see the lawyers in this nice suits on the TV
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
And even lawyers in practice, a lot of lawyers just aren't that personable. So when people come to me, they're like, "You don't look like a lawyer, or you don't seem like a lawyer." I say, "Thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, like I'm just like an everyday dude that happened to have gone to law school.
Yeah. That's awesome. What about so in 2024 you were named the Marc Brown firm was named one of the top 10 fastest growing firms in the country. Like what do you attribute to that? Like what does that mean to you as well?
It meant a lot. Like just I never wanted to open my own law firm.
Right.
It happened. I was almost forced into it because I wanted to switch over, become a plaintiff lawyer, and every injury lawyer law firm I went to, nobody wanted to pay me what I thought I was worth. So I just opened my own firm and quickly showed everybody what I was worth.
Yep.
And then to take it from that, and in my first 5 years, make the Inc. 5000 list, and yeah,
Awesome.
it's just been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
That's awesome. And like, what about marketing? Like, I know there's like some questionable marketing tactics by a lot of firms out there. And you're like, a smaller firm. I don't, you're like medium sized, smaller, but like, you got to compete again. I don't know what the billboard laws are there, but like the 800-pound gorilla, as you called it, and like stay ethical. Like, tell us about marketing, like your marketing
Marketing is
tactics.
very important,
Yep.
especially in the personal injury wrongful death arena. And when you first start, generally you don't have much of like, yeah. So what's your budget? Like, I mean, my budget is I can't spend too much.
Right. Right. Right.
But you going against these big, crazy firms that have been around for 30 years and they're $1 million a month is their
That's
budget.
crazy. I know. I don't know. I almost fell off my chair when I really heard about how much people. This was like 5 years ago, and anyway, go ahead.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
And people think that you're competing with other lawyers. If you try to compete, you will go bankrupt.
yeah,
You have to make yourself different. You have to show the community, show everybody what you bring to the table, your personality, your marketing has to be a lot different from their marketing. I know, like, I'm on TV. Like, it took me a while before I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing TV commercials. And about a year, maybe a year and a couple months ago, we started TV. And I'm like, oh my God, these monthly bills are huge. And then my mom's telling me, I don't really see your commercials.
okay,
I see that other firm
yeah, yeah,
on every commercial break.
yep.
Like, yeah, they're paying $1 million. So I'm not there yet.
Wow,
So it's
okay.
like you have to compete with them. I mean, you I guess I hate using the word compete, but truly you do.
Yeah, you
And
do.
as long as you stay in your lane and make your proposition sell unique and be true to yourself, your clients will come to you. That's my thing. All the people that spend $1 million a month, I don't care. Their client, the people that call them, those aren't my clients.
Right, right.
That are meant for me. They come to me,
I
and
like that. I like that. And what makes the Mark Brown Law Firm unique? Like, why is somebody coming to you over a competitor? Not necessarily the $1 million a month competitor, but somebody like sort of similar.
I would say it is because first thing that pulls in is going to be marketing. Because the first time they hear about you is going to be a billboard, a TV commercial, radio, Google, whatever.
Right.
And I keep all of my marketing tasteful. You'll never see me or hear me do a jingle or anything
Yeah.
crazy like that.
Right, right.
Not down in them to do it, but that's not me. And then once they want to know more about me, they visit my website, they can see who I am. They can watch my videos. I love doing videos, so you can actually hear me talk and
Yep.
see me move. I'm in the community a lot with different events,
Yep.
a lot of sponsorships where I don't just give them money. I actually attend.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually
great.
there
Yeah.
in the community. So once people realize, oh, not only does he have a reputable law firm, he's a nice, genuine person, but he's very knowledgeable and has great experience.
Right. And Mark, like you also serve on some local boards, so that goes hand in hand with like what you're talking about. tell us like a little bit about the boards and like why community is so important to you. I mean, it's important to me too, but
Yes, all of my, well, not all of my, most of my community involvement deals around children. My mother was a public school teacher for more than 30
oh,
years.
nice. Wow.
And so I'm on South Carolina Children's Trust and Children's Trust South Carolina, the board there, where the main goal, everybody has to love their purpose, their goal, and that is to end childhood abuse and neglect. Like that's a mission statement that anybody can get behind.
Yeah.
Also on City Year, Columbia, communities of schools, South Carolina. So all my sponsors, like all of my philanthropy and community involvement, I try to direct it towards children and helping the
Awesome.
next generation.
That's amazing. Good work. So I had another question about like cases, and I know you prep a lot, like probably. And this, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go all over the place, but this is
Are
a
you cool?
question I wanted to ask about. Like going to trial. Like, so, like, do you prep all your cases like you're going to go to trial?
I would say majority of the cases we prep as though we're going to trial. There are
Yep.
going to be certain cases, and I'll be honest, smaller cases, the ones we know the actual value range for them. We
Yep.
ins- we'll file suit, but we know that once a lawyer gets involved, they're going to want to settle this case.
Okay.
So, but early on, before we file suit, when we first get a case, we start building it up as if it is going to trial.
Right. Right.
While things progress, we kind of determine which ones are more likely to go to trial and
Yep.
which ones probably will settle. Because I'm a strong believer, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So from the very beginning, before evidence had the chance to disappear or people will start forgetting things, go ahead and build your case up like you're going to trial next month.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So just before I forget, I want to say, if you ever have any blog posts that are already written that you have, we'd love to get them up on our. We have a pretty brand new website. If you
Okay,
have any
yeah.
blog posts, we'd love to put them up there for you. So I know this is kind of random right now, but what? Tell us like what inspires you every day. Like when you go in, like what are you inspired by?
I would say maybe not every day, but at least every few days, every week, my inspiration changes. I
Okay.
meet different people, and whether it's someone that calls me for help or some other lawyer that I saw was able to get a great result for a client or their family, or even just a business person, somebody opens up a new restaurant down the street. I don't know. When I see people doing good things, or if I see something unfortunate happen to someone, it inspires me to do more, to help more. What can I do to better someone else's life?
Yeah.
I've worked hard, and my wife and I, we have a great life here.
It's
And
awesome.
it's like, what can I do to continue helping? Because I won't be here forever, so I need to help as many people and to leave a lasting impression, do as
Yeah.
much good as I can.
I love that. Make an impact.
Yeah, make an impact.
Yeah, that's great. So any big cases that you're currently working on that you want to, I know you like any subject matters or issues or that you have.
Um, I will say I won't say in particular,
Yeah, yeah,
but we ran an audit the beginning of this month, coming to the mid-year point, and looking at our cases and litigation, and there were 5 to 6 cases that popped up, and I was like, oh my God, these are mammoth cases that we're on the verge of resolving.
yep,
Those are the ones we're preparing like we're going to trial,
yep.
and a couple of them I hope to trial.
That's
I
awesome.
good, but
Awesome.
the offers that are coming in, we have some clients that are going to be happy by the
Yeah,
end.
that's great.
And
That's what it's all about, right?
that gets me excited. That gets me excited. And plus, get to stick it to the insurance company.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
I used to work for them, and they would cut my bills down and boss me around. Like, where's my report? So like now they get to go to
Wow,
the
that's
insurance.
crazy.
Oh, I love it.
They would like cut your hours down and say
Oh
like
yeah.
paying you for all that or something. Okay,
Yeah.
so
You'll work. Let's say they give you a file and you work 60 hours on it. You're like, no, I think this should have only been 37. And
wow.
most of the time they
Even
cut
so, is
it.
that like working? What do you mean work? Like you had a contract with them, like where you were doing
So,
like you were doing defense?
so yeah, when I was on the defense side, for insurance defense, let's say car accidents for example, or something bad happens, their insured gets
Yep.
served with a lawsuit. Their insured gives it to the insurance company. They would hire my firm and
Right.
file, and you have to defend their insured. And so you're working on their file, doing everything, discovery and whatnot, but they would constantly, especially if you didn't word your time entry, because you bill in 6 minute increments.
Right. How can they do that? Just like tell you how much, like, what don't,
Because there's so many law firms,
right.
everybody wants work, everybody wants
Right.
money.
Right.
They're like,
Right.
well, we'll do it cheaper. We'll do it cheaper. And they
Right.
start bidding against each other
Yeah.
and watered it down for insurance defense so bad now.
Yep.
Right when I left, it got to the point where you didn't even really bill. Like, here, you're going to give you $750. If you have to serve discovery, we'll give you 2,500. If you have to take a deposition, you'll get 2,500. I mean 5,000, I'm sorry. And then you get no more money. If it goes to trial, you get no more money.
Right. Because they
So
don't want it. Yeah. They don't
yeah,
want to
so
try.
so many lawyers, they would just hold the case until the depositions were done, and now they'll settle. Okay, I mean that's my $5,000. Let's
Yeah.
settle. I was like, it's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the reputation is with defense, but we don't have to get in there. Like people who are doing that kind of work. I mean, I think usually they want to try to get over to the PI side, but it's probably like, it's less. If you start your own firm or if you're in a PI firm, it's kind of less. Less no, it's more questionable, like the income, unless you're like really killing it, with big cases or like some cases, especially at first. So it's a little more safe, I guess, to be on the defense side, maybe.
Oh, that's a perfect word. It's completely safe because
Yeah.
twice a month that direct deposit's coming in, and you know
Right.
exactly how much is coming in.
Right.
With a personal injury, you might have a good month, you might have a terrible month.
Right.
Not to go on something
No, I
old.
want to hear it.
So when I first opened my doors, I counted everything to a T. I'm like, all
Right.
right, I saved up money, and I'm like, my overhead, and anybody who runs a law firm is going to laugh at this. My overhead is going to be $5,500 a month. That's it. It's just me. I'm not on payroll. I had a small little office space I rented, and I saved up enough money for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Month six came. I had no money.
Okay.
Didn't pay any of my bills. They're calling.
Really?
My rent's due, and I just got an offer a month before on a case where they offered me $100,000. So that means I would have gotten $33,000.
Right.
But I knew the case was worth more, and there was a $250,000 policy limits. So I held strong because even if my lights are turned off, I was never going to sell my client short. I would never
Right.
sell my client short. They paid me the full policy limits of $250,000. And
What did
that
it take to get there? Sorry, finish your
well,
story
no.
first.
Oh
Finish your
no, no.
story first.
Well, long story short, that case settled mid-January. So then by the time the check came in and everything, I was able to actually pay my bills February for January and February, and I didn't get kicked out on the street. So
Wow.
everything worked out. But what were we gonna ask?
No, I was asking like what did it take to get the offer from 100,000 to like 250?
Well, first the offer was zero.
Okay.
Um, Not gonna give too many facts on the case, but it was a case where my client I was gonna say it was a very hard case to build up, and
Okay.
there was no the liability was on my client at first, from the investigating officer to everything involved. Um, but we were able to work it up, and got the liability switched over to the other driver, and then we just kept plugging along, and they saw that I put holes in their argument,
Yeah.
and to where if it did go to a jury, the jury I believe would have sided with my client, so they
Okay.
would have tendered the policy limits.
Do you think there are attorneys out there like I don't know if they're less experienced attorney, personal injury attorneys that like will take less than somebody else can go out and get? I mean, that like say like an attorney they get an offer for like I don't know what policy limits are, but say the policy limits are like 100,000 and like the attorney gets like a 30,000 offer. Like have you seen where people will do this? I know I don't think I'm talking in the right numbers, but
Oh no, you're talking, man. You wouldn't believe it. I feel so bad for a lot of people, just regular in society, when they're hiring a law firm, especially because and I'm gonna first let me tell you from the area I'm talking from. I'm talking from my experience being an insurance defense lawyer
Yeah.
and having cases against so many lawyers. And that's I learned so much from having cases against great lawyers and from having cases against not so great lawyers.
Really? What's some of the stuff that you've seen? Not to call anybody out, but
Oh, what I was
because I would think like a young lawyer, somebody like let's just say inexperienced, doesn't want to lose like a case or like a good settlement and go to trial and risk like not getting anything. Like, how does that work? Like, what do you
it's
see?
a mix. It's two different types of lawyers that we used to see would take the low settlements, the low offers, and that's going to be inexperienced lawyers, and that's going to be lawyers who are well, actually three inexperienced lawyers, lawyers that are very pressed for money, and lawyers that work for some of the larger personal injury law firms where it's just churn and burn.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would say the lawyers that fall in those three categories, they would leave money on the table like crazy. Because
Wow.
much as I hated it, it was my job to keep from paying money, all the money to the injured person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all. And I would, negotiate with people, and I'm like, "You really gonna take that?" And yeah, there's two cases in particular where I truly to this day feel bad, and it
Wow.
doesn't sit right with me that
Oh, you
I
mean you're gonna
allow.
take that like you said you're gonna take that like you're not gonna fight any more for
Yeah,
that? Okay.
this case is worth so much
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
but I can't tell your lawyer how to represent you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
but yeah, there's a couple of cases where to this day I still feel like I was wrong, because yeah,
Because you lowballed them. It was your job to do it,
it's my
and
job to do
the
it.
lawyer took it.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's kind of crazy. Like, what happens like in the lawyer community, like when they find these things out? Like, are they just like, dude, you're not serving your client well? Like, is this like an ethical issue? Is this like, what do you think? I think this is really interesting because you might get somebody who wants to be a PI attorney, and they start just taking cases, and maybe they have a friend who gets hurt, and like the friend's like, hey, take my case, and they only get them like a third or a quarter of what they really could have maximized their settlement or recovery at.
We don't really talk about it in the community much, but we know the lawyers to do it. But I will, it's like this. You know the easiest way to get $1 million on a case?
What's that?
Mess up a $5 million case.
That's
So people are like, oh, my lawyer got me $30,000. Oh, that's amazing. That was a $250,000 case.
yeah,
And most people don't know what their case is worth, and a lot of these lawyers don't know what their case is worth, or the lawyer knows, but they don't want to put in the work to get it where it needs to be, or the light bills come and due. They need this money. They want to go buy a new Mercedes. And
wow.
thankfully, because of my values, I never put, and my wife hates this too. To an extent, she hates it. That like instead of bringing money home to myself, I like to invest into the firm. I
Yeah,
want to grow the firm. I want to, provide the best resources for my clients. So when my clients hire me, it's a 13 member law firm. I have all the resources of
right.
200 lawyer law firms. I have every single resource that they have. I have it because I've invested in my firm. I've invested in my website. I've invested in my case management software, the experts. It's like, yeah, you
So
want
that
to
I
protect her.
and I love that you've seen it from the other side too. Like you have empathy for these people. Like you know that there are adjusters out there who are just gonna lowball, and that's their job. Like you've been on the defense side, right? So you
Yeah.
know that like these people are gonna be you can get way more out of like what either the policy limits are, or you can go to trial. If you had to. I mean, do any of your cases go to trial? Like very small percentage, or what would you say?
I would say it's a smaller percentage. We're working now we're trying to push more of our cases to trial. I think this year I have not had a case go to trial. Um, Last year we had, I think, three that went to trial, had good results. You know, they say I don't know, but they say that on average 80% of cases settle without filing a lawsuit, and of the 20 that remain, only 10% or less actually go to trial. Um, Most of the time, if two parties are reasonable, meaning if the plaintiff and the insurance adjuster are reasonable, most cases can get resolved.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I don't know why I'm stuck in this mark, but like, so if somebody gets, say, like 100,000, do you think another attorney would call up attorney B and be like, "Dude, you only got 100,000 for that case. I could have gotten your client like 500,000 or something like that." It doesn't happen like
Uh,
that, right?
oh yeah, we track like on chat, like on text groups. We'll like in a small, like not like a
Oh,
lawyer,
oh, really? You guys
but
do
like we'll
that?
trash talk each other. And like
That's great.
I'm like, bro, you took that? Like what? But more often we do a little focus groups and
That's
we'll
awesome.
give each other the facts of the case,
Hmm.
the county, all the information, all the pertinent information. Like, what do you value this? And
Okay. All
want to
right.
make sure that we're right in the right ballpark.
Okay.
Um,
I like
and if
that.
you have a strong group of people that are very knowledgeable and aren't going to BS you, because there's always going to be them lawyers like, yeah, I'd get $1 million on that case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But as long as you have some people that are really true friends and
yeah.
knowledgeable, they'll give you accurate numbers. And yeah,
I
you got
think
to
that's
live your
amazing.
client.
I think that's great. I love that. I do because sometimes I guess you could kind of feel alone out there, like trying to
It's
even though you see enough of these cases where you do know what a case is worth after a while, like a slip and fall or like a particular injury, like I think and there's also like AI like sort of tech out there that'll tell you
yeah,
like you punch it in and like they tell you this case is worth $32,462.89. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that, I think. But I wanted to actually ask you a little bit about like legal tech. Like you mentioned your case management software. Are you using any other type of you don't have to name any brands or anything, but
yeah.
do you use anything for like intake for like trying to find like research and any of that stuff?
Yes. As far as AI, because the big thing in AI is writing demands.
Yes.
And I'm on the fence about that because we use it to get a template, but you got to put that personal touch to it. I
Yeah.
need to actually talk about my client and
I got
demand.
a company for. I'm going to tell you when we're done with this. I have a company for you
Okay, good,
that,
good, good.
yeah, that actually they were just on, and I'm gonna hook you up with them.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, I understand. Like you have to have your personal touch. But yeah, no, the AI is freaking crazy, man.
And I know you said that brands, but is it cool if I say one brand? No.
Yeah.
Okay, Filevine. I
Okay.
love Filevine.
Yeah.
And
No, I had the CEO on our podcast
oh, for real? Okay, cool.
probably maybe 3 years ago. And
Man,
they asked me to come out and I think speak. They had a conference a couple years ago or last
yeah.
year. I was going to go and I don't know if they wanted me to speak or like be there. I don't know what I would be talking about, but they, but yeah, of course, yeah, we like Filevine. They've been sponsors at some of our events and like good people. Yeah,
They're great. And the AI is pretty much now where, if your case file, you have all the information in there, you have all the documents, your whole case is right there
yeah,
in your
yep.
computer. And now it has AI. So you just ask it a question and it'll go through thousands and thousands of
It's
documents
great.
and
I
give you
know
an
it's
answer in
crazy.
a few seconds. And it's like,
That's
okay.
probably good for PI, but not so good for like lawyers who bill. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
lawyers
yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
you
Lawyer
know,
Bill, they want to take no, I need to review
oh
1,000
yeah,
documents.
I have
Pay
to
me
review.
money.
Yeah, they have to chalk up every dollar and every. But that's great for PI. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, I've had a lot of legal techs on the podcast, and there's a lot of good stuff. But yeah, no, I shout out to Filevine. They're cool. They were a sponsor for some of our events, and we had they're out in Utah. I think we had the CEO on our podcast a few years ago. Nice guy, and yeah, that's good. Good stuff. So okay, so you are sort of looking at that stuff and like using it and starting to get your firm sort of acclimated. That's good.
Yeah, because so many lawyers they practice law and they just stay in their bubble
Yeah,
and evolve. So like I love to hear about all the new tech coming out, the
that's
new
great.
conventions, conferences. I love to go visit so you can learn from other lawyers in other states what they're doing,
Yep.
what works, what doesn't. How can I better serve my clients here in South Carolina or Georgia? Because if you just keep practicing the same way, it might work for you today, but 2 years is kind of obsolete.
What about referrals? Are you like a referral person? Like, do you get referrals from other attorneys? Do you want to? And by the way, Mark, if you ever see somebody on Lawyer Stories that you think you want to like connect with, or like you want me to do, like if I know them, like if we feature them or something, like
Yeah.
if they're on the podcast, I'm happy to do like a warm introduction, like email, like you just tell me, be like my pleasure. Like if you see somebody who could be like a potential friend or like referral partner or whatever.
Oh, definitely, I will. I appreciate you
Yeah.
offering that. I love to build my referral network. Especially one of the reasons why I'm licensed in 2 states and
Mhm.
hopefully, Lord willing, will be licensed in another state at the end of
Yep.
this year.
Yeah.
Is all the South Carolina lawyers, they send me Georgia cases and
Okay.
vice versa. We have Myrtle Beach here, Charleston, everybody's coming to visit. Everybody goes to Atlanta. So, there's a lot of traveling going on. So I love to build up my referral network. I need to build it out more Midwest and West Coast next.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. We know a lot of lawyers now, so let me know.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see your firm in the Marc Brown Law Firm in 5 to 10 years?
In 5 to 10 years, I see my firm continuing to grow. Um, continuing to do what we currently do, but just on a higher level, meaning helping more clients. If I help 500 clients this year,
Wow.
next year I want to help 750 clients. Um, Continuing to find the right staff people that are very knowledgeable and fit my firm's culture. Just continue to evolve and do great things.
I love that.
I will still be
Congratulations.
practicing law. I'm never giving up practicing law. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. No way, man. You seem like a happy guy and like you're doing well and that's really cool. Super random question I just thought about. Regarding you mentioned a lot of dog cases in South Carolina. Like what what are dogs like who do you sue? Do you sue the homeowner, like the homeowner insurance? Like how does that work?
You sue whoever owned the dog.
Okay.
Whoever most time the dog bites are going to be in a neighborhood where a dog is unleashed or jumps
Right.
the fence. And then as long as you find the homeowner, you sue them. But I had a case where a very mean Great Dane was taken to a doggy spa, and they know every time it comes in, it has to wear a muzzle. For whatever reason, the owner dropped it off and took the muzzle and the leash off.
Mm.
And one of the workers sustained a very nasty bite wound.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we actually were able to go after that owner's the dog owner's home policy, even though this didn't happen anywhere near her home.
Mm.
We're able to tag it on and recover that policy limits on that one.
Okay. Wow. So that just because would they look at it as like something that was part of the home or something? Like the
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
One case we got pending now, which is really weird, where a German Shepherd actually jumped into my client's backyard, and when he went to let it out, it walked away a little bit, and it came back and bit him and ran off. And
yeah.
so we were able to find the owner, and of course, got their homeowners insurance involved.
Wow. Yeah, we had a situation here, but that was like 3 years ago. So, anyway,
It was a dog bite.
it was a dog scratch and attack on my yard on a 5 year old, but
Oh,
scratch.
okay.
Yeah, it's all good. So anyway, so Mark Brown Law Firm. Did we leave anything out today or what? Or did
I
you want
don't
to
know.
add
It's been a
anything
great.
in?
I don't know. It's been a great discussion,
Good.
and
Yeah, it really
you kept
has.
and then request you would say, "Oh, this is random," but nah, I love random, so I'm
I don't
all in.
know. I just kind of like, I like going into the legal mind and asking questions and seeing if I like, was thinking about it the same way or whatnot, because you get to do it every day. And like, I'm licensed in 3 states
Oh,
and
what state
yeah,
you in?
Maine, Massachusetts, and Connecticut.
Okay, okay.
So like, but this isn't like a full-time thing, but I could tell you about that some other time. But, um, I'm interested. I love torts and like product liability and law school and all that sort of thing. So it's always interesting to talk to personal injury attorney, get your opinion on things, and you're doing big things, man. Keep up the good work.
Fighting the good fight.
Fight the good fight. I love it. I love it. So Marc Brown, founder and managing attorney at the Marc Brown Law Firm. Serving South Carolina, Georgia, and maybe somewhere else. We will find out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay right there. Thanks for coming on, man.
Pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, wherever you are in the world today. Enjoy yourselves. Cheers.